Hello, I am GamerX20 aka X20 and welcome to Gaming Memories. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to review a game from the 5th and 6th generation. Some may be good and some may be bad, but others might be underrated. And today I'm reviewing one of Ubisoft's underrated games. That game is called S.C.A.R.S, or Supercomputer Animal Racing Simulation. You may know who Ubisoft is, but for a brief mention, Ubisoft is a French video game company who made such classic franchises like Rayman, Assassin's Creed, the Tom Clancy games, and the Rabbids, to name a few. But during the late 90s, Ubisoft published a racing game that no one never heard of or never made a brief mention, called S.C.A.R.S, released on PlayStation, Nintendo 64, and Microsoft Windows. This was Ubisoft's second racing game, the first one being Street Racer. People have mixed feelings about this game. Some people enjoy it, some people didn't like it, others are just scratching their heads. Well, I'm going to talk about it right now. So here is my review of S.C.A.R.S. Okay, so here is the premise of the story. In the year 3000 AD, the world is no longer controlled by humans, but by supercomputers with superior intelligence by their creators years ago. They have acquired many of the characteristics of humankind, including emotions like fear, happiness, hatred, and boredom. The supercomputers now entertain themselves with the most honorable and dangerous of human customs, racing. So the supercomputers build 9 sophisticated cars that mimic Earth's most fearsome creatures. They also simulate 9 courses in each different environments. The quest for adrenaline/splash thrills becomes never-ending. Now, victory alone is not enough. Okay, now that we got out of the way, let's get into the presentation. The graphics is actually good by 1998 standards. The designs of the cars are really well designed, and the environment of each different tracks and tone of each different field. Like in the Aztec level, which has a Amazon jungle, hidden temples, and a tiki tribe. The ski level, which is a downhill snow mountain area. The rally level, which is a circuit area that took place in England. The Hawaii level, the island level, which is a tiki tribes, and a volcano, which I sort of think takes place in Hawaii's small island, or it must have taken place in Lost, etc. The upper left represents a weapon item and a secondary weapon after you use your first, and then the power bar meter to hold L1 for a stronger attack. The upper right is the timer for how much time you have. The right corner is the other players behind or in front of you. The bottom right is the speed meter and how many laps you got. And finally, the bottom left is your position to see what position you are on. Okay, now the gameplay. There are 9 different courses. The already mentioned Aztec, Ski, Rally, and Island, but also Water, Canyon, Mountain, Blade, and Pipe. In the game, there are weapons to collect, like Turbo, Magnet, Seeker, Boomerang, Time Bomb, Stinger, Stopper, Round of Bullets, and Shield. But if you hold down the L1 button, your weapons gets a stronger attack. The racing game is just your typical racing standards. The game starts off easy, well, sort of, but then gets harder as you continue on. The cars gets more faster. There are tracks with very sharp turns, especially the ski level, and trying to get first place in the last cup is so difficult. Oh, and don't get me started on those barriers. Sure, you might not see them first, but trust me, the barriers are very invisible and you can actually get knocked very easily. And then they get annoying when the tracks continue on. Like the one time in Canyon, I thought it was a full empty spot. I thought I was going to make it shortcut, but instead I get knocked out because of an invisible barrier. And oh, one last mention. To unlock the other cars, you have to do a challenge. The first 4 challenges is just you versus the car, but the 5th and final challenge, you have to race them all. Just, oh god, beating all of them in first place was just hard work. Okay, so now the ending. There's really nothing to end on. It's just a cutscene of your car getting built by the supercomputers. But it doesn't matter which different cars you win, it's always going to be the same cutscene, but with a different car. What a lousy ending. But now that we're done with the gameplay, let's focus 2 more things. The soundtrack and changing weathers. First, let's start with the soundtrack. Anyways, the music is actually great. Ubisoft did a wonderful job composing the music and theme to each track. My favorite soundtrack is gotta be the Blade level. You can select a weather, like daytime, sunset, rain, and night. The daytime is, just your normal daytime in the tracks. Yeah, I got nothing to say. The sunset is a little bit darker, but you could still see the tracks, but a little. The rain time is, well, just rain, nothing special. But the nighttime, dear God, it's so dark. The only time you could see everything is using your headlights. Okay, there are some pros and there are some cons. But at the very end, this game is just decent. Not a good or great game, but just decent. So, what are my thoughts about this game? Well, the game is good, but decent. It had good track design, excellent music, and feels like a computer simulator most of the time. But most of the time, the invisible walls could get out of hand sometimes. I think it needed more tracks for longer gameplay and low down the difficulty, because man, it's hard at the last challenge. So overall, it's a decent game. Even though there were other racing games in 1998 like Gran Turismo, but if you want to get a copy or emulate it, by no means give it a shot. With that said, I give S.C.A.R.S a 3 out of 5. This is Gamer X20, aka X20, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching my first episode of Gaming Man.